to be having this session today. It's definitely been something interesting for me is this whole concept of social media marketing. I think it would be great to partner social media marketing with the entrepreneurship and the Rise Up, putting those together for a 12-point bundle, just that first Rise Up with social media marketing, have it be an entrepreneurship class. It would be a really fantastic, meaningful way to help students earn their industry recognized credentials and maybe find some post-program success through that. So we do have with us today Adelaide Dopp. So Adelaide, welcome to our session. And do you need me to let you share your screen?
Yeah, that would be great. Thanks.
Okay, so let me make you a co-host.
Perfect. Okay, sounds good. I think it should be working. You never know until you try.
You are now a co-host, so you should be able to share your screen, and I will turn it over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Lisa. Well, welcome everybody. Thanks for hopping on. I'm really excited to talk about Stukent. I don't know if many of you guys have heard about Stukent, but I would love to just introduce it. So, I've been here for about almost 3 years now. I've been here for a good chunk amount of time, and we are really breaking through the education barriers and walls of our big thing is being current and up to date. We are the most current material on the market by far. That's Stukent's big thing. We put in so much work in being able to say that. So for example, our social media marketing business materials, there's chapters on TikTok, on Snapchat, very career ready and very focused for students going into career force or college, whatever it may be. So that's our big thing. With Stukent in general, our main demographics and customer base is higher education. So we have a lot of materials in that. However, we have our high school department, which is awesome too, because then it just gives high schools, really top of the line materials too, just at a high school level, right? So that's more of a background on Stukent itself. I'll share my screen and show you what we have going with Ohio in general. So here, I'll share my screen. Okay, it says it's sharing now, but here we have the Ohio, right? The Ohio Business Marketing and Finance Industry Recognized Credentials. So Stukent, we are on here. We're 3 credits towards graduation if students take this certification exam. And the certification exam is really incredible in the fact that I'm sure you guys know that most certifications, typically they cost per student per retake. So that adds up very quickly for schools. It just gets really expensive. With Stukent, actually, that certification comes with a bundle for free. So essentially, you guys can have as many retakes as you want. And that's a big money saver. So usually with my teachers who I work one-on-one with, I always say, oh, maybe use it as like a little knowledge checkpoint throughout the year, and that'll, help them to pass it or more likely to pass it, right? So let's talk about what the bundle is and what it is. So here I have our high school access pass. I pull it up just because it's easiest to see everything we have. But here, this is the bundle that certification is included in. And that certification, it's called, just to recap, social media marketing industry vetted certification, because Google, HubSpot, other major companies, they've approved it and said, yep, this is exactly what a marketer in the industry needs to know. So this bundle, it comes with a few different things. It has the marketing strategies ebook, which is, just essentially an online textbook, but a lot more than that. It has lesson plans, it has lecture slides, activities, projects, guided notes for students who may need a little extra help. There's informational interview videos with different professionals in the industry, with different types of companies on different topics. It's very thorough. There's assessments and rubrics. It's very, very built out. Video case study, everything's in there. You get the gist, but it's built out. You'll be taken care of. It's built out for a year's worth of materials, but we have a sample semester-long calendar. If you have a semester class, I know most social media marketing classes are usually semester-long. So you're taken care in that regard. And then it also comes with our simternship. That's the second thing Stukent in general, the company, is really well known for, is those simternships. And what those are, the name simternship, we call that internally, but it's a simulated internship, right? So, you know, when you go to college and you get your list of definitions, which is great, and you get an idea of the job you're going into, but you don't really know until you go through the internship process, or maybe you have like your set internship before you graduate. This actually puts students through that mock internship project. It's this interactive participation project where students, they work with this mock boss throughout each round. And throughout each round, oh, sorry, there's just people entering the room. But throughout each round, the students will receive these inbox notifications from their mock boss, right? Who's saying, hey, you need to focus on this, or here's the teaching resources here, etc. And from there, the students, they'll take those key points or direction, just like a real job, and apply it to each of the round's projects. At the end of each round, students have this results round, which is pulling all the variables that they chose. So it's all just very realified, real data. And then at the very end of their simternships, the students receive a completion certificate that they can add to their resume. So that's another thing that's separate from that 3-credit graduation credentials of the social media marketing industry vetted certification, right? So you get all these things with the bundle, which is great. It's just a really great resource for you guys. So that is what the bundle looks like. I would love to show you guys more in depth on this bundle. I want to pause real quick and see if there's any initial questions, because I know some people only have a little bit amount of time. If you guys want to put any questions in the chat, I'll keep an eye on it. For now, I'll just keep going. So from here, let's pull up a mock course. Here we go. Okay, so I'll pull up the Marketing Strategies ebook first, and I'll show you what this looks like. So it's very similar to a textbook, right? There's all these different subjects. There's, I believe, like 15 in here. I'll review the table of contents so you can see what it comes with the certification and the topics it covers. And just to talk about a little bit more about the certification itself that's on the Ohio list. It's based off of this ebook right here, the Marketing Strategies ebook. And there is a study guide for it to help students and whatnot. But here's the table of contents. So chapter 1 is obviously like an introduction to marketing, right? What it is, understanding customer, 4 P's of marketing. And then it dives into introduction to social media marketing. Why is it different? What is it? The history, the future. It dives into chapter 3, social media for businesses, why every company should have a social media strategy, real world brand examples, right? And then chapter 4 through 9 is social media platforms, different ones, because every platform has its set target demographic and its own strategies, right? So first one is Facebook, right? The history, demographics, platform, and business strategy specific to that. Then there's Instagram, X marketing, YouTube marketing, Snapchat, TikTok, right? So very, very relevant, very current. And then we have paid social media advertising and why it's an advantage to companies and why companies do that, how they do that, right? So I'm going to pause there. Students are really seeing the back end work of what they see on social media, right? They'll say, oh, I'm getting something that says sponsored. What do companies do to sponsor this? Why are they targeting me? How did they do that? Which is really, really neat. Then it dives into chapter 11, analytics and audit. So it gets a little bit more data in depth, right? So metrics that are important, creating an analytics plan, what is a social media audit and how to conduct one. Then planning, so planning it, preparing, execution and evaluation, personal branding, which is great that it talks about that, and tips. And of course, digital marketing. So what is considered digital marketing and how it differs, SEO, PPC, email marketing, web analytics, etc. So that is the marketing strategies topics. And then of course I mentioned there's sample calendars, there's quizzes and rubrics, there's activities, there's lesson plans. And I love these lesson plans for specifically if I work with a teacher who's new to teaching this topic. It's just so in-depth. It gives a main objective, teacher prep, student prep, lecture slides, main discussion points, etc. It's just super in-depth. So that's the marketing strategies ebook. Now I want to show you the simternship itself. I'll show you the instructor side first and then the student side. So this is the simternship where the students are going through this mock simulated internship project, right? And then at the end, they'll get their completion certificate. So here's the instructor side. I'll just briefly go over it. It's pretty standard and very user-friendly. So we have our settings page with all the different rounds. The first 3 rounds is organic posting, meaning it's similar to what students currently do if they post on social media. They're just doing organic posts. They're not paying to promote. Then the next 3 are strictly paid to promote. Then the last few is a mixture between the two. So they can see the advantages and disadvantages between the two and really strategize, just like a real marketer. Here, there's start dates, so you can make sure students don't jump ahead rounds where they need to be. That's always very helpful. And then rankings. I love this page. So when I work with my teachers, usually they'll pull up this rankings page at the beginning of class and say, oh, so-and-so jumped a spot. And they'll throw in incentives for first, second, and third. And then students have a lot of fun reaching for those goals, or maybe, first place, 1 free homework pass, or whatever it may be. That's really fun. But essentially, this will break down all the results, right, with their rankings of each metric. So for example, if they're gauging impressions or click rate, right, it'll break it all down and it'll compare the students to their peers. So there is a competitive factor to real world, right, real world competitors. Then we have just more in-depth student results here, an instructor guide, and I'm going to pause right here. So we do have an instructor guide PDF here. But Stukent is really special. When I first started off at Stukent, I worked on their customer success manager team. And then I got to know the materials really well. And now I'm a course consultant. So I consult with teachers and I help match their courses with specific Stukent materials that are going to be the best fit. But that customer success manager team that I started off on is very unique. So instead of, I'm sure you guys know, if you reach out to just like a support team, sometimes you just get a random person each time. It's the worst. And then you have to re-explain your situation. I hate that. Stukent's not like that. So you guys have your set for your school. You guys have a set customer success manager here at Stukent. Her name's Katie Klingler. I've been working with her for over a year and she's just incredible. So she'll know your guys' name, your situation. You guys can email her back and forth. If you ever have any questions, she'll check in throughout the year. It's just great because you'll have us in your corner, really. So I just wanted to talk about that resource for you guys. We don't want to say, here's some great resources, good luck. No, I'll help you. But that's the instructor side. So I'll show you the student side real quick. And with this, I have, let's see, I've done a little bit of work, which is great. So we can pull that example work. Okay. Here we go. So this is what Stukent's user face platform looks like. And I want to talk about this because every single one of our materials has this user face layout, except for personal finance. And the reason why personal finance doesn't have that is just because it's a classroom economy where, oh gosh, I could talk about that forever, but we're not talking about that. This one has been my favorite for a long, long time. But every single one, like digital marketing, career readiness, entrepreneurship, public speaking, sports marketing, accounting, sales, supply chain, HR, marketing intro, right, and business finance, they all look like this. So if you guys are needing other materials, you can rely on the fact that it is consistent. So here's what it does look like. So every single simternship we have has an introduction round. And in the introduction round, it has an overview, This overview is a video walking students through literally every single component students will be completing as they go through. So expectations are very clear from the get-go, which is great. And then these learning objectives, they're repeated under here in a written format. Something I want to point out is we do have reading assist for these. I'm not sure if you can see my cursor, my zoom's in the way. There we go. Reading assist is right there. And then we have these blue boxes. What these blue boxes are, these just get straight to the point for students. It's saying, hey, you're a social media specialist for this company, Bowie Supply Co. And I'll pause right there. Bowie Supply Co., it's a mock company name, but it's pulling company data. So the company Stukent partnered with is Supply Co. So it's a high fashion and very well-known bag brand in the United States. And so it's pulling a lot of data from it. And so here it's saying, oh, you're going to optimize the company and its social media channels, right? So that's the introduction. If I press continue, we're taken to the inbox feature. I kind of talked about this before, but that's where your student has their mock boss, Naomi. And Naomi, she's reaching out to your student throughout the simternship saying, hey, here's the data points, here's the tips and tricks, definitions, right? Just like a real boss. So the students will be applying those pieces of direction to their project. So they're working on soft skills, just like a real job. But I'll press continue. Here we're learning about the company. We get this whole video from this mock HR director at the company. So students really feel like they're hopping on board to the company and their whole process. They get the chance to review the core values. So they just really feel involved. And then they review the data that they're going to apply to their project. So here we have this market information. We have all the different product options. So we have colors that are fun to click on, the different lines. So for example, I could type out American Dream Line, and we have different price points. So this is very important because let's say students are focusing on revenue per round. They might want to focus on the duffel just because it costs more, right? Here we have market, and with their market, they have all their different target demographic personas, which is really fun. We have a lot of diverse ones. And just to talk about them, let's say Daypacker Tom, right? He is a large percent of the market. He's 30%, so we might want to focus on him. He's this data point range for age group, maybe male. So we need to look at more of a male dominated platform. There's his income, and there's keywords like camping and hiking. However, if we look at hipster mommy Cami and her market 7%. So the market is less than Daypacker Tom. However, her income is significantly more than Daypacker Tom, right? So these are things as a student we're going to weigh and say, okay, what are we focusing on here? With this round specifically, which target market is going to perform best? From there, we're going to take that information and apply it to our channel analytics, our social media marketing channel analytics. So we have a whole bunch listed out here. We have like Instagram and Pinterest, all these fun ones. But I'll click in between these different metrics, like impressions or followers, and you can see at different months they peak or they dip. Here, I'm not sure if you guys saw it. I've definitely played through, but Naomi said we're posting from October to November, right? So just like any other subject, if a student does the work and reviews it, they'll know and do well. So October to November, Pinterest impressions, it takes a dip. So probably not the best channel to focus on impressions, right? But we need to take a step further from there. We need to see which target demographic persona we need to focus on. So age group, perfect for Daypacker Tom. It's a very wide range on Pinterest. Gender ratio, however, it's very female driven. Daypacker Tom would not be a good persona to target for Pinterest, right? So that's just a little snippet of the thought process students would take. And then of course they're working with a budget. So I wanted to show you that quick introduction round. I'll briefly touch on round one just to show you what an actual project round looks like now that they have all this information. Again, if you have any questions, throw them in the chat. I can review them as they come or at the end. But here, this will jump into round one. So round one, here we have our budget overview. It looks like I haven't, purchased anything yet. We have our scenario, inbox, and notifications hub. And I'll pause right there. So scenario, inbox, and notifications hub, those 3 sub rounds are going to be consistent with all the rounds. And what those are, scenarios obviously giving you the scenario for the round. Here we have this very personalized video from our boss, Naomi, in this VP of marketing saying, hey, here are your tasks for the round or your very clear assignments. The inbox, I already mentioned a little bit on this, but here's her expectations, right? Some data points. I want to show you what one of these resources looks like because I keep mentioning it. So here is a social media audit that it provides. We have an overview from the last 12 months. And here we can read what each metric means, right? So engagements, what does engagement mean in social media marketing? It's, total number of clicks, reactions, comments, shares by social media channel. So Instagram, it looks like Instagram's the best platform for engagements, right? Versus reach, Facebook's better. So those are things students can review, especially if they have a task to increase a metric. They'll want to review this first, and then they'll review, right? Then they'll go and review the, I need to move my Zoom. There we go. And then they'll review their resources to see. Here we go. Okay, guys, I'm playing like a whole little puzzle game, moving my Zoom. There we go. We'll go here. Scenario overview. And we'll pull up analytics and we can see, okay, Instagram, right? Okay, so it's 50-50, a little bit more female dominated, right? And then from there, that's when we'll review our market and say, okay, which age group did that fit best with if we're focusing on engagements? So you guys get the idea of how students will break this down. Then from there, we have the audience complete breakdown. We have Facebook, right? Gender, percentage by age, income, education, location, best day and time to post, which is kind of crazy. Because if you look at Instagram, the best day and time to post, statistically, one of them is Monday at 2 a.m. I think everyone has the Sunday night blues there. So everyone's like, oh, I just won't go to sleep yet, right? But it's just really neat to see that. So students, it's just really fun to see that they'll take this and say, oh, I'm going to apply this to my personal social media, and they'll really dive in it. Really cool to see. I've seen a lot of that. So for this, that's the type of data students will be using to apply it to their project. So I'll move my Zooms again. Okay, there we go. So the third consistent tab is this notifications hub sub-round or tab. And what this is, it's kind of similar to the inbox. However, it's in the fact of, or in the form of a messaging platform. So for example, it's like mock coworkers or employees, depending on the internship you guys are going through, reaching out to your student, kind of quizzing them, right? So it's in a, like a very small form of a quiz. So here we have Yusuf. He's saying, hey, it's my first day as an intern. I was asked to put together a customer persona report. I don't know what it is. Can you explain it to me? And your student, they get multiple choice and they'll choose what they think is good, better, best, right? Maybe we'll put this one just to do random, and I'll press send. And we'll get immediate feedback, whether it was right or wrong and why. So here we got it right. That was a lucky guess because I just clicked. So we'll have that. And here we have the bulk of our project. So round one for all of our internships, it starts off decently easy just because it's introducing it to students and they're starting off. So here we are creating our social media post. This video is going to walk them through everything they need to do and how they're going to use their data and apply it to their project. I've already kind of talked you through it, so I'll skip that video and I'll walk you through everything else. So this is what their scheduling looks like. They'll build out their posts and they'll schedule it. It won't be official until they run the simulation, but it'll save if they do need to come back to it, which is great. They have their budget here, so they can keep a good eye on that. But the first thing they'll do after reviewing their data and planning out their post, they'll choose which platform to post on. I'll say Instagram, right? It's really neat. You can see because it actually mimics what the platforms look like. So Instagram, right? There's the heart, the content is beneath the post, versus Facebook, the content is above the post and there's the famous like button, right? So there's a whole bunch of different ways to go about it. The next thing we'll do is we'll choose the type of media. And this is really neat because we have Stukent, we just have a whole bunch built out. So we have advertisements and holidays and blogs and images and memes and videos, right? So for example, a picture probably wouldn't perform very well on YouTube, right? So things that students will definitely keep an eye on. But for example, maybe I will do Thanksgiving, right? Based off of the month where we're supposed to post in October to November. So I'll choose that, but I wanted to point out this. There's a price tag here. So it says $0. Looks like this one's, $0 to promote. However, if, I go on images, there's money here, right? It's, $200 for this one. I wanted to point that out because it doesn't mean your school needs to pay for this. It's just teaching students, as your mock company, you need to pay a photographer. You need to pay some media artists who this is their profession. There's copyright laws, So it's just, again, real world examples, which is great. So anyways, I'll choose one of these. I'll choose the Spain one. And you can see our budget will reflect that choice, of course. And then here we'll type out our post. So maybe I'll put traveling with my hashtag buoy bag. I'm just going to leave it there and keep it super simple. What a student would want to do is they would want to pull up their persona and look at their key interests and plug that in there, right? From here, they'll schedule it and they'll use their social media audits. So we saw Monday at 2 a.m., right, you guys? So we'll do that and we'll schedule the post. From there, I'll do a quick post here just so you guys can see the difference. So I'll do back to school, backpack. I'll keep it really simple just for sake of walking through everything with you guys. Do 4 p.m. and we'll schedule that post. So everything here is saved. And then once we're ready as a student, we'll press run simulation, which we'll do. And the very last thing is the results round. So it's just incredible because we get instant results. We don't need to wait 2 weeks compared to real life. And plus, we don't want you guys having students posting on actual social media. We don't want you to get fired or anything, too crazy. So here, for students, we have all the different rounds, which is great. We can go, as a student, we can go back to previous rounds. We can jump forward to future rounds and see how it compared. And then there's an overall ranking tab. So when we analyze each round, we have this video, which is really helping students to walk through and show them how to analyze how they performed. But we have a post analytics tab where we can look at Facebook itself. We only posted one post on Facebook, right? So there's not going to be much here, but just to show you what it looks like. Awareness here, if we hover over it, it gives us the definition. It really breaks it down. And then we have a very visual graph as well for the day we posted and when it peaked. If it calmed down, we can see, let's say there's 2 posts on Facebook, we can compare the 2 and we can say, okay, what was different? Was it the day we posted, the time we posted? Was it the description or the type of content? If I go to post history, I can see everything on all channels. So let's analyze this a little bit. We have Monday versus Thursday, and we can see that the revenue generated was mainly from Instagram. We did a better job on that platform, right? So I just wanted to quickly point that out on how students would analyze it. Obviously, I'm going pretty fast. And then rankings, of course, they'll see their metrics and they can compare it to their peers. And there's that fun little first, second, third incentive. But that's the bundle. That's the bundle that the social media marketing industry vetted certification comes with. And so there's just a lot of really great resources, extremely valuable for students to put on their resumes, not only that industry vetted certification that in Ohio, the students get 3 graduation credits for, but also the fact that if students go through that simternship, they get a completion certificate that they can add to their resumes too. So what I'm gonna do is I have my meeting link. If you guys want to set an individual meeting with me to review your specific classes, get a quote or anything you guys need, I can absolutely do that. Here's my information. I have like a little QR code so it's easy for you guys. And there's my email, my phone number, and my meeting link is right there too. But that's the information I have. I know you guys need to go to your next one. But yeah, that's everything. Thanks for everything.
Adelaide, can I ask, like students with disabilities, do you have any built-in modifications, accommodations,
Great.
or are teachers allowed to make modifications and accommodations?
Great question. So I have a whole thing on it. So yes, so we have the reading assist. Let's see. I actually have like, we should probably post this on Stukent's website, but I have like 5 questions. So what specific tools are implemented to facilitate interaction with online materials for students with disabilities? So just reading off this, Stukent, we've implemented the essential, anyways, the essential accessibility platform. So that essential is the platform. And so that offers various tools to facilitate interaction with students with disabilities. It includes,
Are you showing us this? Is that what you?
oh, I'm just reading off of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a whole written thing from my coworker. But essentially that platform, it includes mouse and keyboard replacements, voice recognition, speech enablement, hands-free and touch-free navigation, and more. So those are designed, to assist users with difficulties with typing and gesturing and moving mouse or reading. And then diverse needs with visual, auditory, and motor impairments. So Stukent, we conform to Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, or WCAG 2.1 level A and AA. So it covers a range of needs, including visual, auditory, and motor impairments. So the partnership with Essential involves that. And so we use comprehensive assistive CX technology is what it's called. I'm trying to skim this because I know we're short on time. Let's see if there's anything else that's major. Those were the major ones. Let's see. Besides that, we have our customer success managers that'll work one-on-one with teachers' needs. I mentioned it earlier, that'll know them by name. So Katie, she's awesome. And she can help teachers. We have our Stukent ADA compliance page that I can, share for anyone who needs it. We have our accessibility conformance report and WCAG edition page. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, no, that was very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. No, anything we can do to help. And thank
We
you
do
for,
have a little bit extra time available, so if anybody else has questions, I do see, is this identified to be a specific level of competence reading? So maybe that helped what she just clarified, but do you know like what reading level in general your content is written at?
great question. I don't know what specific reading level. I'll need to check with my coworker, our like development team on it. But as far as like which grade does this work best for? I have all grades in high school using it. Honestly, I do. I have, let's say a teacher has a marketing class or maybe a marketing level 2 class. Usually, it works best for like an intro to marketing class or marketing level 1, just because it's so engaging for students. They're on social media all the time. They find the subject to be very interesting, right? And so they really like to dive into it. From there, if they have like a marketing 2 class, that's where we suggest the digital marketing bundle we have, where that bundle comparatively, it just dives more into search engines. So for example, like when a consumer searches something and how companies create ads and whatnot, and build it out to their landing pages. So that's to answer the reading level.
Another question in chat is, do you have a rough estimate of the cost of the program? Is it per student or is it per class?
Great question. Great question. So Stukent, we price it for the school year, and then we have student count pricing tiers because there's big schools, there's small schools. We want to make sure we help you guys. So the different pricing tiers we have is up to 10 students for $500. There's up to 30 students for $800, 50 students for $1,000, 100 students or up to 100 students, right, for $1,300, up to 150 students for $1,500, and then 200 or unlimited students is our standard pricing. That's for $2,000. Usually when teachers are needing 2 or more materials of Stukent materials, because we have like entrepreneurship, career readiness, we have a lot. That's the point where it's teetering the price point of an all access pass, where all access pass is 12 plus resources. And that's a really good price at that point. So it just, if you guys need a quote, let me know. I have my QR code pulled up. So
I have
great.
I have a question about so if we do this in person, you showed how the students kept pacing themselves, but is there design for teacher instruction, like I don't really want them doing it by themselves. I want
Yeah.
I want the connection.
Yeah, neither do we. I think we all learned from COVID.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, so I'm really glad you brought that up. So within the marketing strategies ebook, and I know we only had so much time today, I had to go pretty fast, but within that marketing strategies online ebook, there's a guide with the ebook and the simternship, right? And so with that guide, it breaks down of saying, oh, as you go through the ebook, this is where you might want to touch base on the simternship of, once you teach a topic, maybe you then go through a round, right? And then, so that's the biggest thing. That's like a big guide. And the simternship, it is built out so students can self-pace. We wanted to make it so it's very customizable to different school needs. But for the most part, with teachers who I work with, they usually just follow along that guide. Great question.
And are all the accounts made like through a teacher dashboard and then they
Great.
push it out, or is it a district dashboard?
Great question. So Stukent, we are web-based, meaning students can access us through website, right? Versus downloading an app, because then, it's just a whole thing. And the reason why we're that way is so we can constantly update the materials. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because that's how students will access it. As like dashboards and whatnot, Stukent, we do integrate with LMS platforms, learning management system platforms, meaning Canvas and Schoology and whatnot. So I'm very happy to say that, and that's great. Most schools, they usually use Google Classroom. I'm assuming most of you guys use that just because it's free and awesome. But it's very easy. All it is a link that students will click on and it'll launch out to their class. And that's it. We have our whole customer success team to help.
Baby, you gotta go to school. You gotta go to school.
Yeah. And so another thing with that, on that note of it being web-based, if a student tries to pull up another tab to try and cheat on a quiz or something like that, they can't. It won't let them. It'll recognize that they're a student user. It won't let them log in a different tab, a different window, anything like that. It won't let them. Another thing is it won't let them copy the text if they want to try and mirror it and put it in a Word document. It won't let them. Another thing is Stukent's not set up for iPhone users. It works best on Google Chrome and little laptops. And we're working on iPad integration. I believe we actually have that. I'll double check, but it won't pull up on their phones, which is really great because then it'll be hard for them to, pull that up and cheat. So that's good. So let's see, just looking at the chat, all access pass. So all access pass, it depends on your school's yearly graduation student count. So for that one, it's kind of like that same tier standard pricing. And this is for like a massive school, probably like a 2,000 student count graduation size, that's $6,000. I can say in most cases that I see with all access pass quotes is like 3,400, maybe 3,600. It just depends. That's like the average. So almost half, right? And so usually at the point where schools are needing more than two, that's where it just makes more sense. I hope that answers your question. As far as how long does the simternship itself take, the simternship itself takes 11 to 18 hours total. And then of course it just kind of goes hand in hand with the marketing strategies ebook typically. Great questions.
Adelaide, there was another question, perhaps I missed it, but
Oh.
was there a cost and time ahead for teacher training for
Mm.
this?
Yeah, great question. So yeah, I can recap that again. So teacher training, we have our customer success manager team. I kind of mentioned it earlier, but yeah, we don't want to say here's great resources. You're on your own. We don't want to say that. So we want to help you guys with what that entails. By the way, I'm not sure if I mentioned this. It's free. It comes with it. That training, you have your customer success manager. Her name's Katie. So Julie, she'll know you one-on-one, and she'll know your situation, and she'll check in throughout the year and make sure you're doing okay, or you can follow up with her. And basically that training entails courseware setup, training, integration, questions on reviewing students' results, anything and everything, really. If you have questions about anything, we can help.
So I just want to share because I had some side comments in chat and someone had asked about licensures that ODE would approve to teach this course. That's definitely something you would want to consider. If you run it as a marketing course, you would need a marketing teacher, but you could also run this as an English elective because it's communication. And that way you would need an English instructor. But something that maybe most people aren't aware of is you could run a middle school career tech education course. So you could run a middle school business, middle school marketing, and use this content, use the Stukent curriculum. And that middle school would then be a middle school course that you could teach in 9th and 10th grade. And that would come with a little additional funding, which might help you to offset the cost of the curriculum. So that's something to think about. It's also a plug for the couple of sessions that Chelsea Canterbury is doing in this series. So definitely get creative. Adelaide, you get a great presentation, wonderful information. I'll open it up for one more question and then I think we'll finish.
Okay. Sounds good. And then in the chat, I'm putting the link to our All Access Pass page just so you guys can see all of the materials we offer, because they all have simternships with those completion certificates. They all have really helpful resources. And that way you guys can read more or book a meeting too.
Right. Well, hearing or seeing no additional questions, I thank you for your time. This was very, very well done. Tara, can we get add that link to the web page? Which link, Terrell?
The link that she just posted, Lisa, right above there's a link in there that has information. We might want to post that on the webpage.
Okay, I will copy that. Open link. All right, we will make sure we get that added. Adelaide, thank you so much for your time. Thank you to all of you for attending. Don't forget, if you want your contact hour for this session, to use the link that was put in chat by Jody. And with that, I will stop the recording and close the session. Thank you, guys.
Lisa, is it just